Hi, ma'am. I am Geneva Aleta from 1A17 and I will be discussing about the Six Sigma DMAIC steps. So, what is Six Sigma? According to statistics, it's having no more than 3.4 defects per million opportunities in any process. Conceptually speaking naman, it's a program designed to reduce the occurrence of defects, to achieve lower costs, and improve customer satisfaction. And in the business world, is a way to improve quality, save time, cut costs, and improve customer satisfaction. In fact, this step has been used by various businesses like Motorola in order to improve their business operations. So next, ano ba yung Six Sigma DMAIC steps? So ito yung define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So it's a formalized problem solving of Six Sigma and composed of 5 steps that can be applied to any process to improve its effectiveness. So kapag nagde-define ka, isiset mo yung context at yung objectives for your improvement. Next is to measure. When you're measuring, you determine your baseline performance and the capability of your process. And then when you analyze, you use data or tools to understand the cause and effect relationships of the process. So dito mo inaalam kung ano ba yung nagkakos na isang process. And then when you improve, you develop modifications that lead to a validated improvement in the process. And lastly, you control. You establish plans and procedures to ensure the improvements are sustained. So, dito, unang-unang gagawin mo is to select the opportunity. What do you do when you select your opportunity? First is you identify potential projects. Ano ba yung mga dapat mong gawan ng improvements? Nominations may come from variable sources such as your customers and employees. Now, evaluation of projects is needed to avoid sub-optimization. Ano ba yung sub-optimization? Yung gagamit ka ng ng solutions for other departments na hindi naman applicable sa department mo. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng cost of poor quality, which is the frequent basis for evaluation. Other criteria that may be used in selecting the opportunity include the impact on customer loyalty, employee effectiveness, and conformance with regulatory requirements. The project problem and goal statements are also prepared when you are selecting your opportunity. And lastly, is you select your most appropriate personnel for the project that has the proper training. Next, select your deliverables. So these are the list of the potential projects that you have identified in your first step in selecting your opportunity. So ROI and contributions to strategic business objectives for each potential project must also be selected. So nandiyan yung list of evaluation of projects, selected projects, project problem, goal statements, and a team charter for each problem, and formal project teams headed by Black Belt, which was discussed by previous reporters. So next is you select also your questions to be answered. Ano ba yung mga mahalagang questions to be answered, such as ano ba yung customer-related issues na nangyayari sa isang business, kailangan ba siyang i-address directly or indirectly? What mysterious, costly, quality problems do we have that should be solved? What are the possible benefits to be reaped by solving each of these problems? Ano yung may mas malaking benefit na makukuha ka kung uunahin mo ba yung maliit na problem o yung malaking problem muna? Which of the problems deserves to be tackled first, second, and others in yung sinabi ko kanina? And what formal problem statement and goal statements should be assigned to each team kasi not all problems and not all goals apply to each team kasi baka mamaya kailangan ng customized solution for each team. And lastly, who should be the project team members and leader for each project? Next, so after you have selected your questions to be answered, you now proceed to your define phase. So this completes the project definition that was begun with the charter developed during selection. So you confirm your problem, your goal, and your scope of the project. So the complete definition include key customers related to project, customer needs with respect to the project and the voice of the customer. Third is the translation of VOC into CTQ requirement statements. And fourth is the high-level process flow to define the project limit. So yun yung nangyayari sa define phase. So next, you have to define also your deliverables, yung confirmed project charter, the voice of the customer, CTQ statements, high-level flow, which is usually in the form of supplier input, process output, and customer diagram. Next is you define your questions to be answered. So exactly, ano ba talaga yung problem in your measurable terms? Kasi mahirap siya when it just comes to qualitative terms. So kailangan your problem should be measurable in order to have a measurable goal also. Next is what are the limits of the project? What is in and what is out of scope? Ano yung kaya at ano yung hindi kaya? What resources are available from the team members to the time, finances to accomplish the project? And who are the customers related to this project? Lastly, what are their needs and how do we measure them in practical terms? So, next naman is your measure phase. Now, in the measuring phase, you understand and map the process in detail. Ibig sabihin, nilalayout mo na kung paano mo siya measure it using your baseline performance, you measure the process creating the problem, and you plan for your data collection. I-measure mo rin yung key product characteristics such as your outputs and your process parameters such as your inputs. Also, it is important for you to measure your potential failure models. If your plan A did not succeed, anong kailangan mong gawin kung ganun, may plan B ka ba? So measure capability of measurement system. Is it reliable enough? Will it be effective? And lastly, you measure the short-term capability of the process. So, next is yung sa mapping the process. Ano nangyayari doon? So, you focus on the vital one outputs identified by Pareto analysis. And you graphically depict the process that creates it by mapping the process in a flow diagram in order to understand the process at anatomy. Next, determine the baseline performance. Ano ba yung nangyari when you determine the baseline performance? I-measure mo yung actual performance, your costs of poor quality, number of defects, cycle time of the processes, and you create the problem to discover which vital outputs makes the greatest contribution to the problem. Next is you measure potential failure models. So you list potential process defects that could occur and their causes and effects. So yun na yung um, correlation ng X and Y. And next is yung rate of severity of each effect, likelihood of its occurrence, likelihood of its being detected should it occur, and identify potential process failures that have the most risk associated to them, and also yung results na identification na magiging grounds mo for improvement. So yun basically, when you measure potential failure models, it's most likely the likelihood, the probability of it happening. Next is your planned data collection for short-term capability study. So you create a sampling and data collection plan para ma-determine mo yung capability ng measurement system na mag-provide ng consistent, accurate, and precise data upon which the project can rely to tell the truth about the process. And next, once you have already seen all of this, kailangan mong mag-take ng corrective action if it's an incapable process, and determine if process is in statistical control with respect to given variables of capable process. Next is you measure the short-term capability of the process. So ascertain kung yung process ba is in statistical control sa given outputs through using a control chart. Next, you take action para ma-remove mo yung special causes ng variation in the process if it's not in the statistical control. And para naman makapag-provide ka ng baseline data, kung in statistical control siya, magpa-perform ka ng short-term capability study niya. So yun. Next is to confirm or modify the goal. So evaluate mo yung project's problem statement and goal statement. I-verify mo, nangyayari ba talaga yung problem? Meron ba talaga yan? And kung hindi siya accurately measured, kailangan gawin ulit to ng team at this point. Also, you must validate the project goals, such as the technology, market, benchmarking, and history. Next is you modify your problem statement and goal statement if either does not meet the criteria above. And then, kailangan mo mag-obtain na confirmation from the leadership team, like the champion, black belt, or quality council on any necessary changes to the project goal or team membership. And lastly is to create a glossary for important terms in your project. So that ends the 6 Sigma DMAIC steps. Thank you. Perfect na ako, ma'am. Ala! Nasave ko ba? Wait, Gian! Tulong! Ay, nagre-record pa. Girl! Nagre-record, di ko alam yung exit. Ay, ayun lang pala.
Ma'am, di natin ikakapya.